Hey everyone, it's Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer, and I am so excited about what we're going to be talking about today because for me it was a huge mountain to climb. I've been on this journey for a long time now, but this battle between the head and the heart was really a difficult one for me to wrap my head around, so I'm so delighted that I get an opportunity to share with all of you what I have learned throughout this journey and what I am continuing to learn even better. But I know when I began, I used to really want to slam the ego. I just wanted to put it in a box and never hear from it again. And in doing that, I wanted to shut down the head completely. I didn't want to look at any of the attributes that I had of logic and thinking things through and making decisions based on what appeared to be a factual base. I just wanted to dump it all and go into the heart. And then I got so confused because when I started, my heart was filled with all sorts of conflict and limiting beliefs and negative thinking. And so it was sending me off in all sorts of crazy directions. And I used to hear people say, "Oh, trust the wisdom of your heart." And I would say to myself, well, I'll do that as soon as I feel like the heart is wise. But it seems to be sending me into these crazy situations. So I'm not sure who I can trust, what I can trust, or where I should go. And it was a long period of darkness and of learning and studying and taking classes of little by little eliminating the negativity and the darkness so that I could get to a place where the heart could lead me and really fully communicate with the divine so that I could understand. Yeah, now I'm beginning to understand what these people were saying. They were always telling me the right thing to do, but I didn't yet have the tools in order to fully implement their advice. So what we're going to look at today is the role of your head and the role of the heart. But what you must remember is that if you have allowed your heart to be completely consumed with conflicting beliefs, it is not going to be able to lead you in the direction that you need to go. So important that you commit to doing the work that will allow your heart to be free of limiting beliefs and negative thinking. Stop condemning yourself. If you need a starting place, begin with self-love. Begin looking at all that you are that is wonderful and magnify that. Just let go of anything that isn't great about you. Don't focus on it. Don't even try to change it. It will naturally drop away as you begin focusing on all of you that is so good, so beautiful, and so wonderful. So I really want you to get used to looking at all of your good qualities and stop forcing yourself to change any of those negative qualities. As you build on the good, you will naturally magnify those qualities, and those things that were holding you back will either come to the surface so that you can clear them, or they'll just drop away. If they're not that important to begin with, they will simply drop away because what you are focusing on, that good, strong, powerful, wonderful, magnetic part of you, will rush in and take over and begin lifting you in new and more beautiful ways. So let's look at what my guides have to share with us about this head versus heart dilemma that we all start with and that we work through on our journey. So they begin. Dearest ones, there is a battle that rages within each of you between the head and the heart, and until you understand the purpose of each one, you'll always remain vulnerable to whim. I love the fact that they chose the word whim, because it did feel to me that I was just like kind of in a whirlwind of confusion, because I had all of this stuff in the heart that was sending me off in unproductive directions. And then I had all of this factual knowledge in my head that said, what are you doing? And I just wanted to get into more and more self-condemnation. That wasn't ever and didn't ever move me forward. Logic says, as you grow older and have attained a larger knowledge base, it only makes common sense to rely on the brain for precise instructions about what to do in every situation, as you simultaneously begin ignoring the tender promptings of the heart that views the world with wide-eyed wonder. So let's all take a moment and be children again. We're looking at a dandelion, and as adults we might see weeds, but as children we see a beautiful wish flower, and we pick them and blow on them and send those seeds of more weeds out everywhere, enjoying the beauty of that moment. And as an adult, we may have lost that ability to see the joy and the perfectness in that moment because our heart has been hurt or experienced trauma. And they continue, after all, you're a grown-up now. You know things you didn't know before, so of course you should apply all that you know in every situation. Let's reason this out, you may say. Let's look at all the alternatives that make our best judgment. Let's be logical. Yes, dear, the mind is a superior mechanism and it does provide much value, but you're a being comprised of energy that has slowed its vibration to give the appearance of physical mass. You are not a lump of gray matter that operates separately from the world in which you inhabit. So let's take a look at the heart. The head does a lot of learning, calculating, and processing. It stores up acquired knowledge from situations and from teaching. But what does the heart have to do with making a good decision? The physical function of the heart is to nourish the entire body by sending oxygenated, nutrient-rich blood to all parts of the body. There is no belief that some organs are more worthy of receiving than others, and there's no rationale about why the heartbeat should be rhythmic and steady. It just happens automatically. So with all this happening without thought, where's the wisdom of the heart? And why would you ever consider abandoning the head for the heart's counsel? In order to understand, you must first understand yourself. The physical body you inhabit is an efficient and cooperative container that has been made available to your soul's energy for the purpose of this lifetime. In other words, this thing that you identify as yourself is just clothing for the soul. Let's take a moment and recognize we are not this physical body. We are, but we're not. Part of us is the physical container in which we live. But that which is truly us is the energy, part of which has slowed down so it can become a physical mass to identify us and to separate or designate us as you and me as opposed to them. But the greater part of us is the energy, the soul which remains connected to the expanse of energy that surrounds us, that never separates and cannot separate from the beingness of everything. When the soul enters the physical body, it does so through the energetic heart center. This energy center is the soul's connection to the remainder of the energetic realm that you stay connected to for the entirety of your existence in human form. Once the physical being ceases to be sustained, the energy that was present in the body returns to the collective energy of the Godhead. This is so important for us to understand. We do not die. The physical body ceases to exist. That which was slowed down to become physical then speeds up and becomes all energetic and returns to the energetic form. We can never completely separate from the energetic form. And when we are no longer able to sustain the physical mass, we just return wholly to the energetic form. But we have maintained a connection for the entire time that we are in the physical form. So it is not changing from one thing to another. It is just more fully becoming that which we already were. Therefore, when you access the heart, not the mechanical pump, but the energetic core, you are going beyond knowledge the head might have acquired and tapping into the majesty of all there is. No one is denied access to the mind of God. This would be impossible, for you are a part of God. However, you cannot access that mind with book learning or conventional study. You can go to school, attend classes, workshops, seminars, whatever it is. From the time that you are born or emerge as a physical body to the time when your physical being ceases to be, and if you are not connecting through your heart to God, you will not have acquired that heart wisdom knowledge. You must feel your way first into establishing a stronger connection with the fullness of the divine, and then you must learn how to interpret and understand the communication you're receiving. Unlike book learning, which can come in a specific language, when you receive communication from the divine, it is always in the form of energy which you must interpret. And that's why you can sometimes get it wrong, especially if there is trauma, limiting belief, or negative thinking stored within your heart. The trauma can begin doing the interpreting for you instead of your pure communication center. Each one of you came here to explore, to try out different ways of being so you could develop a greater degree of understanding. But none of you came here alone, cut off from source, with no one to help you find your way home. Now, I know that it can feel as though you are all alone, especially when something may have happened in your life where your partner abandons you, dies, or a relationship dissolves. That physical presence of the other person may no longer be available to you in your life, but you always have your divine connection. The divine's unconditional love for you doesn't demand perfection, obedience, or blind faith. Source wants a relationship based on trust that will enhance the life and experiences of all participants. We really need to look at this for a moment. Many religions, and I am not bashing religion, however, I have to acknowledge the fact that some religions, or perhaps it's not even the religion, but the person interpreting the religion, may tell you that you must have blind faith. That is not a relationship. Trust is because Source has demonstrated to you that they are loving and they have your best interest at heart, so that therefore you can go forward with what they may call blind faith. You may go forward saying, I trust that my highest good is coming to me. But you can do that because it has already been proven to you that you are loved and supported. So please establish the relationship first. Put the effort in to establish the relationship. Don't ask yourself to swallow something that has no basis in reality for you. Create that reality, establish that relationship so that you will know that when you do look to Source for your answers, they are loving and kind and for your highest good. And you can then move forward without fear because then you are truly trusting. Source is seeking to learn and grow as you learn and grow, to expand and to make more love available to all in the hopes that more will choose the way of love, which is true power, instead of the way of hate, which is false power. Now, we have been in a place of false power for a very long time, but we have now entered into the energy of unconditional love. There is still a lot of shifting going on, but it is getting stronger and more powerful and easier to access. Therefore, excuse me, when you go into the heart, when you feel your way forward into a decision or situation, you're guided by love and the all-knowing wisdom of the divine. Notice they didn't say run in there completely unprepared and just hope it works out. Know that when you feel your way in, when you have established a communication, when you know that you can rely on the divine, you will be guided by their love and their all-knowing wisdom. But if you have not taken the time to establish the relationship, you can be guided by your trauma. As you open more fully to the idea that self-love is merely love of all that you are, which in turn makes it possible for you to love all another is, you begin placing yourself in a space that to the physical eyes appears miraculous, but to the eyes of spirit simply indicates being one with the energetic stream. When you really get this communication open and you have cleared away all of the debris, your life will appear to be a series of miraculous events. It simply means that you are in alignment with the divine. When you enter the heart space and feel your way to better interactions with others, better performance at work, and more abundance in every area of your life, many will exclaim with shock that it's a miracle. However, there's nothing out of the ordinary happening here. When you use energy correctly, you have aligned your being, head, heart, body, with the divine pattern. You're fitting the puzzle piece you represent into the space that was allocated to you. You're not trying to be something you're not. You're merely saying, allow me to be all that I came here to be. And that is a tremendous amount. The divine, which is only unconditional love, then helps you move into the opportunities that are best for you. When you stay out of resistance, out of thinking thoughts like, this is too good to be true, or I hope I continue being lucky. Now, that phrase, I questioned, well, that's kind of good, isn't it? They said, no. It's not luck that things seem to be moving for you in this direction that appears miraculous. It's alignment. It is you marching in time with divine harmony and allowing your life to flow where it should in the time that it should instead of trying to force things. You automatically find yourself at the right place at the right time to receive unlimited opportunities. So it will appear to be miraculous, but it's merely the extension of right feeling and right thinking. and thinking your way into a swift connection with the divine. Hold on. This did not get written correctly. Let me find my original notes. It's merely the extension of right thinking your way into a swift connection with the divine and to feel good, to want a deeper relationship because it makes your heart sing and not out of any kind of obligation. You don't feel forced. Then you must establish that you are indeed deserving and open fully to receiving. Do the work necessary to quiet the negative voices in your head. Let go of past trauma and release any belief that says you can't. The head has knowledge. It provides a sounding board and accumulates more knowing. But it can be tricked into believing that its version of the events, the way it remembers things, and the information it recalls are all correct. The head wants to be right before it can feel good, so it creates justifications about why it should be done a certain way with logic. The heart also wants to feel good, and the better it feels, the more it opens to the unconditional love of Source. The outpouring of love it receives enables it to feel better and better until the joy and love that the heart is experiencing overflows onto everyone around it. This ebullience, this tie to love brings forth the best in self, the best in others, the best in circumstances, as it allows you to flow into a steady stream of abundance. Let's look at that for just a moment because it is so perfectly divine. Whenever we are working in harmony with the divine, it doesn't just benefit you. That's when you know you are absolutely on track. The divine will never say, okay, it's your turn. Today you get a blessing and I'm leaving everyone else out of the equation. They will always say, I bless you and your blessing as they increase will begin to overflow onto all those around you, onto everyone who is willing to receive. Now understand what they said here. We cannot force another person to accept a blessing from us. We can only control ourselves. Therefore, we must absolutely love ourselves and work on ourselves so that our divine connection is as pure as possible. Not because we're selfish, but because we understand that when our divine connection is pure, we automatically bless ourselves first because we are the ones agreeing to receive, and then we automatically bless everyone around us who is also willing to receive. If someone is not willing to receive, there is nothing you can do about it. That is why when people are ill and they even better analogy, when someone has someone close to them who is ill and they ask for prayers and the person chooses not to receive those prayers, it's not that the prayers did not work. It's either the time for the person to go back to their energetic state, they have completed this life journey, or they are not open to receiving. And so because they're not open, they have to complete their journey at that time because they're not agreeing to any more information coming in. Prayers are always effective. They are always heard, but we don't get to decide how those prayers work out. If the other person says, no, I don't want to receive a blessing in this way, I want to receive the opportunity to go back to the energetic state, then they will do that. If they say, yes, I'm receiving this into my body, and I am allowing my body to be healed, because everything is energy, we can affect healing in the body through energy, through our prayers, then they will receive it. But you can never say, I must not be good at praying, or my prayers are not effective, or I'm not good enough to pray. You only have control over you, not the other person. They must receive. So when you pray, know that you have been answered, but that you have no control if you're praying for another person about how they will choose to respond to the answer that's being sent to them. They have their own divine interaction, and they must respond in the way that feels best to them, or the way in which they're open to responding. Now back to head versus heart. We don't suggest that you abandon the head. The head can help you figure out how to do things. But we do advise you approach the heart first, because the heart is the why behind the how that brings meaning to your life. And I have a story that will make this so clear that I'm going to share with you in just a moment. You got to have the head in there. You have to know how to do things. But the why is supplied by the heart. The heart connects you with everything and allows you to be invincible while you're living a life of purpose. And everyone came here with a gift and to live a life of purpose. It may not be my purpose. It is your purpose. Your life doesn't have to look like mine or anyone else's. It has to look like what is best for you. Don't compare. Don't look at someone else's life or their role in this life and say, gosh, I wish I could be that. You don't want to be that. You want to be your best you. That's where you're going to shine. I guarantee you that you have brought everything with you that you need in order to shine in your particular life purpose. That doesn't mean that you'll never have to study in order to get better, or that you'll never have to explore it. Even those children that are considered child prodigies must still practice on their instrument or whatever it is that they brought to share. They have an incredible talent, but if they never sat down at the piano or whatever they came here to do, they would never develop that gift. So reach inside yourself and find your gift, and then commit to doing the work necessary to bring that gift to its fullness and share it with the world. The world is waiting for your gift. And it will be magnificent. I guarantee you. No one came with a piddly little nothing gift. Everyone came with something spectacular that only they can do best. There may be millions of doctors in the world, but each doctor has brought something that they do better than any other doctor. And it may be that it's only to work with a couple of people, or that there is a situation in which their particular knowledge can help one person. It doesn't matter how many people. It matters that you use your gift in the way that brings out all that you are. No one else. You. You're the important one. And you have something that no one else has. So please stop comparing. No one is as important as you in your particular area. So let's review, and then I've got a great story to share with you. So we began the call with the question, well, who should be in charge of your life? Your head or your heart? And yet they explained, hey, both have vital qualities, and they are necessary. The combination is necessary for success. So don't eliminate the head. Don't go all heart. It's the two together in perfect balance that are going to give you the success. But you don't want the head to be the ultimate authority when you're living your life in the miracle zone, asking for the highest good. Because sometimes it may not make sense to you at that moment because you haven't gotten to the place where everything can be revealed so that it will make sense to the head. So don't let head be the ultimate decision maker if you're walking with the divine. Head can tell you how to accomplish the task. Heart provides the why or the rightness. Why is this important? Why is this good for me? Why should I go in this direction? And it may not come as words. It may just be a feeling. Or you're getting all sorts of little synchronicities and signs. Like you're on a scavenger hunt and you keep finding different pieces that tell you, yes, keep going in this direction, or go off in that direction. When we access our divine wisdom through the heart, we're always given a basic direction, a kind of do this program. If we follow that lead and engage in this activity, we get further and further along. However, the heart doesn't usually tell us how to do something that we're being asked to do. That's why it's important that we don't eliminate the head completely. The head needs to then step in and say, oh, I get it. We need to go in this direction. Well, this is how we move our feet, or drive our car, or get on our bicycle. The head stores our abilities. How can we carry out those instructions that the divine has shared with us? So, I have a great story about my little journey in looking for a new living space. I'm going to share that with you in just a minute. Remember, the heart is generally going to urge us to do something that is good for us, but it's not going to force us. So, if you feel like you're forcing yourself to do something, you must immediately drop into the heart and say, let me look at this very dispassionately and very objectively. Do I have some past trauma about something similar to this that could be getting in the way? If you do, you clear it out and then see, do I still feel that I need to go in this direction? Or was that a fear-based thought brought on by the trauma? Don't get into blame, shame, or pressure to perform. Allow the head to give you the instructions on how you can go forward once you feel clear that it is not a fear-based instruction from the heart. I want you to always make sure that it feels good. So when I say that, what does it mean to feel your way, and how can you access the heart's wisdom? So I know when people were first saying, oh, just, trust the wisdom of your heart, feel it. I was like, oh my gosh, this is terrible. All I feel is fear. I'm afraid to move forward. I'm afraid to stay here. I'm just afraid. How in the heck am I going to feel my way anywhere? Check the reactions in your body. Anxiety, stress, panic, those are negatives. That's a fear-based situation that you must look at and resolve before you can really go forward trusting the heart. If you're nervous but excited, and yet even though you're nervous, you still can feel a little relaxed. You feel like, yeah, I know I should do this, but I am kind of scared. That's different. That's a positive. Then you're eager. Then you're not wanting to run away and hide. Then you're saying, okay, I know I need to do this, and I am a little scared, but it feels good. The other way, it feels oppressive. It feels like you're walking into a trap. That's when you know, okay, I gotta go clear this situation before I really know which direction to move in. If you're dreading the task, you need to check your sources. Check, is it heart wisdom or a limiting belief? So, if your heart is filled with shame, blame, guilt, anger, or resentment, you've got to understand that that is going to try to be the leader, because that's the dominant stuff that's in the way. Because at that point, you are still accessing the wounds and not the wisdom. So when I began and I was all filled with trauma, I was only accessing the wounds. So when I tried to follow my heart, it was an impossibility. It just felt like more and more fear. But once I began taking more classes and getting more educated on the spiritual journey, I was able to differentiate between, okay, this is a fearful situation that I've encountered in the past, and so I am not accessing divine heart wisdom, I'm accessing my past trauma. So, if you try to rely on the heart with blocks in your way, you'll get limiting results. So even if you were to go forward, you wouldn't get very far. Picture yourself driving on a straight road. And let's say you've got your GPS on and it says, the directions say, stay straight for 10 miles. But at mile 3, you hit a roadblock, a road closed sign, and you can't move forward straight. So you have two choices. Either you get out of your car and you clear the debris, or take away all the road closed signs and you move through that way, or you go around it. Heart work allows you to clear the debris. And by just so you know, I'm not suggesting that if it says road closed, you get out and move the sign and drive forward. That was just an example. But so when you're driving your car, it's perfectly okay to take a detour. But when you're in your spiritual journey, I want you to clear the debris. We've all been on detours for long periods of time. It's time to come back to who we are, into the space. Sometimes going around may lead you in circles, and you might go right back to the same issue. And that's not because you're being punished. I know that many of my detours led me to the same place over and over and over again. But that was because it was for my highest good. So I would at some point have the wisdom and the ability to repair the damage, the faulty thinking and the trauma, the limiting belief, so that I could grow. Perhaps I wasn't ready at the time when I saw the road closed sign, so I needed to go off on a detour to learn what I needed to learn in order to be able to come back to road closed and clear the debris. Other times I was simply running from the issue because I was too frightened of it. So, when it's right, clear the debris. You can't barricade it forever. At some point, you're going to have to get in there and do the work. Just like if the city were to try to close a road for the rest of eternity, at some point the taxpayers would say, okay, the funds have to be allocated for the repair, or the decay sets in and the whole thing is going to be destroyed. Nothing stays the same. We either grow or we begin to shrivel. But at the same time, even if we have begun to shrivel and we finally recognize it and wake up and realize, oh my gosh, I can do this. I have the answer. We can immediately begin building back up, and we can far exceed even our highest point when we had a limiting belief. So don't despair if you find that you feel that you've lost ground. It's okay. You're just building up more steam. So this time when you go forward, you really can get through that situation and clear that trauma. Yet, how do we know if we're experiencing a divine connection? That's another important thing to understand, because otherwise we're going to want to run back to the head if we're not really sure. First of all, it feels good, and it will quickly make sense. You may not have all of the information at the time, but as you move forward in little incremental steps, it will begin to make sense. Things will begin falling into place. You'll be excited and not fearful. And you can see the opportunity to further yourself. It won't be hidden from you. You'll know, hey, something great is happening. I can't see all the pieces yet, but I know, I'm sure this is a good direction for me to move forward in. But what do you do if you have blocks, but you want to begin listening to the heart? As always, you start from where you are. Don't charge ahead using your logic to determine if the direction you're being given is beneficial. Instead, say, okay, I recognize I've got a block and I really can't feel my way in this direction. Where am I? All right, I'm at this block. What does this block mean? How can I clear it? I need help, God. Please help me move beyond this. Don't let the head get you all caught up in shame, telling you things like, oh, how could you have let this happen? You are so stupid, or any of those other things. Thank you that I see this for what it is and I can move forward from here. Please help me clear whatever is standing in the way so that I am able to move forward. Come from the place of gratitude and of certainty that you are being guided and that you are loved, not from a place of fear or blame or shame. You're never going to be asked to take a leap of faith before you're ready. That is not the way God operates. God does not say to the beginner of the spiritual journey, step off the cliff and I'll catch you. God says, take a little step and I'll show you solid ground. And once solid ground is so firm beneath your feet, I may ask you to put one foot in the air and show you that you're safe. And maybe later, when you are able to trust me completely, I may ask you to take that leap of faith, but you will be so certain it won't feel like a leap of faith at all. It will feel like the next logical thing to do. So let me share with you what happened to me as we are looking for a new place to live. So we get a friend of ours is also looking for a place to live, and they said, hey, I found a lot of really good things on apartments.com. We found a great place. Why don't you look on there? So I look on there, and the first day it's just like a mess. I don't know. Wasn't in a great headspace, really didn't want to do it. And I had little Post-it notes everywhere. And it sent us on a wild goose chase. We ended up following up two leads that I knew were wrong. They were just felt crazy, but they seemed so perfect that I just wanted to check them out anyway. So, okay, day 2, I said, all right, now I'm going to get serious. I'm tired of this silly runaround places that nobody responds to, and it's just too good to be true. I need a real place, and I don't want to do this for a long time. I just want to get it done. So this time I'm much more organized, head in the right place, really focused, and I find a whole bunch of places. Begin calling them. So the first person that I speak to says, sure, you can see it tomorrow, but I don't make appointments. Just text me an hour before, and I'll let you know an hour before you're available, and I'll let you know when I'm going to be there. Fine. Okay, so I end up with 4 places on my list. And because there's so many places that I hadn't yet heard from, I wrote big numbers, 1, 2, 3, 4, so I would know where we're supposed to be instead of searching through these pages and pages of phone numbers. So we get to place number 1, and it's a beautiful little place. It's quite little, but it's quite lovely. And we think, okay, we fill out the application. Not bad. It's little, but we'll make it work. We live in Los Angeles, and sometimes you got to give up a lot of space in order to live in a place that's close enough to where you work so you don't spend all your time in your car. So we're kind of like, yeah, okay, it could work. Go to place number 2. And in this place, the guy says, I'm just going to give you the code. You go in. It's apartment number 10. So we go in, and there's a beautiful courtyard. There's a security door. So you don't see anything from the outside. You go in, there's this beautiful courtyard. It's very quiet, very nice area. We walk into the apartment. It is easily twice the size of the first one. We close the door, and we look at each other and say, oh, no. I don't like the feel of this place. I feel like I'm in prison. The other one had been very open. This one was quite confining, even though it was larger. So by this point, then I call the guy to see what his application procedure is. And he has a laundry list of things that you need to do in order to be accepted, have the honor of paying him. So I'm thinking, okay, well, put him on hold. Maybe if I can't find anything else. It does have a lovely courtyard. So then we're ready to go to apartment number 3. Well, I look at my phone and I realize, oh my gosh, this guy's never responded to my text. And so I say in my head, oh, I'm just going to forget this guy. What a waste of time. The other 2 are adequate. This guy can't even be bothered to set an appointment or respond to my text. Forget it. And so I say to my son, all righty, we're going to, forgot to mention that before this, number 4 had called and said, oh, someone's working on it right now. You can go in and look at it anytime you're ready. So as we're walking back to the car, I say, oh, we're just going to forget the number 3 on my list. This guy can't even be bothered to reply to the text. Get in the car, and I hear so clearly, you will call him now. I said, oh. Look at my son. I said, well, hang on. We're not going to number 4. I have to call the guy immediately. The angels just told me I must call immediately. I call the guy. Hey, I never got a text. And I'm 10 minutes away with my son. I'm just coming back from K-Town, and I'd like to meet you now. I said, well, hey, no problem. We can do it now. If you'd rather, we have got another place to look at. Give you more time. He said, no. I want to meet you right now. All right, so we go over to this place number 3. And we're standing in front of the building, and it looks okay. Not great. It's an older building. Most of the buildings in this city are older. It's like, yeah, okay. Good location, nice street, but I don't know. And we're just standing there talking and battling back and forth between the first two places that we've seen. Can we fit in this little tiny first place that we saw? What about the second? Do we think we could make it more comfortable? And then the guy opens the door and we walk into a beautiful courtyard. Beautiful plants, a nice pool. And he takes us to the first apartment. He said, actually, I have 3 that have opened up. Now notice he was the first person I called, and he's 3rd on my list, and now he has 3 apartments that have opened up. He said, 1 is ready, the other 2 need a little more work. They're not finished with the painting and, I don't know, blinds or something like that. Okay, so we go in the first one. It is huge, giant. It was probably 3 times the size of the first one, and probably 1.5 times the second one, and light is pouring in. It is absolutely beautiful. But I'm still not feeling like this is quite right. So I say, would you mind if we looked at the other ones? This one happened to be on the street, and I'd rather be in a back corner away from street noise if I possibly can. He said, sure. So he takes us to another one, and I'm like, the second one. I'm like, no. No, this one feels small. And he said, oh, but they're all the same size. They just have different configuration. This one just doesn't feel good. It just feels kind of small to me. He said, well, there's one more. It's over here. So we go over in the corner, in the back, away from the street. I walk in, and even though all the blinds are closed, and it is kind of a dark day, so that made the place kind of dark, I'm thinking, yes, this feels right. And then he says, I'm a photographer. In addition to managing the building, I'm a photographer. And I had the apartment right next to the one that I showed you the second time. And I thought it would be perfect as a studio because the light is so fabulous. But when the light was just right, nobody wanted to work in there because it was so darn hot. He said, this one will probably be much cooler, so you'll be cold more than you'll be hot. And I thought, oh yes, I absolutely hate the heat. I'd much rather put on a sweater than try to figure out ways to cool myself down. So we opened the blinds, and there's a lovely tree out there, and just everything feels great about that little apartment. And then because he still had his son with him, little 4-year-old guy who had just come back from Chuck E. Cheese, by this point, we're on apartment number 3. We've probably been there 15, 20 minutes. His son is starting to get really wiggly. And he's picking him up and he's putting him down. He's picking him up and he's putting him down. And I'm feeling like I'm not quite sure. And so finally, there's a couch that had been left behind in this apartment. And he plunks him down on the couch like, just stay there for a minute. And all of a sudden, I looked at this little guy and I said, hey, could I sit down next to you? He said, sure. And I had my clipboard with me and a pen. And I said, look what I have. I got out a blank piece of paper and I gave him the pen. And you would have thought that I had suddenly become Houdini. He had more fun. I showed him how to turn the pen off and on. And then I realized, hey, I write all during the day, notes from the angels everywhere. I've got a lot of pens in my purse. So I started pulling out all these pens, and he's thrilled. Oh, this is my favorite color. Oh, I like this color too. And he's having a great time. And my son gets to ask other questions that he may have had about the apartment. And this little guy makes this scribbly picture that he's so proud of. Everything just fell into place. Finally, my son looks at me and says, are you ready to go? I said, oh, well, I'm having such a great time. I don't really want to leave. So we get up to go. I write his name on his paper really big so he can put it on his refrigerator. And then I noticed the kitchen light has been left on, and I thought, I'm just going to go shut that light off. It's probably the right thing to do. So I'm the last one out. As I'm the last one out of the apartment, I have to close the door. And I look at the door and I realize it's green. And then I look at the wall, and the wall is purple. When I am in my deepest state of meditation, my meditation colors are purple and green. The angels brought us to the place that will be perfect for us and showed me by showing me my meditation colors. They are so spectacular. My head told me, just dump this guy. He can't even be bothered to respond to a text. The angels came through and said, call him now. And then when we got there, only on that wall, the other wall where the first apartment was, is painted a more beige, pinkish beige color. Only on that wall do the purple and green come together. And only because I chose to be nice and turn off the light did I notice, because I was last out, that it was a green door and a purple wall. That's how you follow your heart. But remember, if I didn't know how to use a phone, if my head had never learned how, I couldn't have made the call. If I'd never learned to drive a car, I wouldn't have been able to drive over there to find this guy, or operate a computer to find his listing in the first place. We need the head to give us the how, to follow up on the instructions. But we need the heart to tell us when and why we should do something. So please, follow your heart and let the brain tell you how to follow those instructions. But first, get rid of any trauma so that you are not responding to the fear-based trauma in your heart instead of the divine guidance. When it is divine guidance, it will feel good, but fear-based trauma can never feel good. It will always make you feel ill. A sick stomach or something else will come in to let you know, no, I'm responding to fear. Do the work to get your heart free and establish that divine connection, and you will never be led astray. So we only have a few minutes. I talked for a long time today. But does anyone have something that you're working on that you need clarity? That I may be able to help you gain clarity by clearing out some of the debris in your heart? Or does anyone have an angel story that they want to share with us? And when I say angels, I mean the energetic realm. It just feels good to say angels. And the angels are so widely accepted. Tina, I see you've got your hand raised. What, do you have an angel story for us, or do you need some help to move through something?
Oh no! Well, you helped me the other day, so it's like it's an angel story. I just want to say good evening to everybody and Dave. But hello, Marcy.
Hi, lovey.
What happened was, just with you showing me to have the faith and just really sitting with what I need to sit with really brought a lot to surface yesterday. And I think the blessing was that I ended up getting the job. And then on top of it, I was searching in my heart. I was like, okay, God, I need to find out about Facebook, about what I'm doing on there. And really, do I need to sit with you, sit with the angels, sit with, the universe, whoever I need to sit with? I was kind of saying, okay, what do I need to do? Because I'm on Facebook, I'm on the groups. I was kind of thinking, am I just wasting my time, not really finding out really in my heart what I need to do? And so my Facebook disappeared, and then even my phone, the other one, now this one is glitching. And I said, okay, I don't think I'm not supposed to be on Facebook. I'm supposed to sit with, God, Jesus, angels, whoever I need to, the universe, to just sit with and understand, get guidance instead of me trying to look for everything in other places. And, I got into other things, and I was like, okay, it wasn't really finding me anything. And I remember telling you this a long time ago that maybe I should take a break, and you're like, yeah, it's better. So this time I think universe said, okay, God was saying you do need to take a break. So I can't get on my computer, and my Facebook now, again, keeps shutting off on me. And I believe, and I don't look at it as bad no more. I look at it as, okay, I'm supposed to learn something. I'm supposed to sit with God, the angels, and just let him talk to me, or just let whatever I need to understand what I need to move forward. And I let go of a lot of the fear, because I think it that's what brings it up is, okay, when I didn't think I got the job, haven't worked for a while, and then I went out to go get some clothes to, like shoes to wear to the job again. So I said, okay, I got it. And what happens? I didn't think I was going to get the job again. And, she didn't call. She said she was sick. And I was like, and then I met people that were just really rude. It was like, I just got a lot hit that day. So I said, okay, I'm done. Stuff came here that just messed up too. And it was just really bad. And so when I talked to you, I just said, okay, I got to just stop with the fear. Yesterday, the lady texted me, and I got the job again. So I believe I'm going to be working for her, and I'll be able to pay my bill. And I didn't buy the shoes for nothing. I think it's just having the faith. And, we're sent like rocks, and we tumble over them, and I tumbled a lot over them, because I think it was just showing me, do you really deserve the job? Do you really, are you wasting your time to go get some, are you cursing yourself? And that's what I thought. Okay, I'm going to buy a pair of shoes to work there at her house. And I thought, if I buy the shoes, maybe I'm over thinking I got the job. And I thought, what a waste. I spent this money on the shoes, and they weren't that expensive, but still, I just felt like, what a waste. But when I found I get the job, it wasn't a waste, and now I get to work. So is it an angel story?
It is, and congratulations. I'm so proud of you. So, number one, congratulations. And number two, Facebook has blocked me for 2 weeks in a row. I get unblocked for 5 minutes, and then I'm blocked again. But the energy is pretty thick and intense right now.
Okay.
So I would take this glitching as a sign that you being so sensitive really should not be interacting that much in that community while things are this intense.
Yeah.
And so it's just saying, pull back and regroup and give yourself an opportunity to become strong, because there is stuff flying around, and it could be very difficult to navigate. So it's not a punishment. It's just, you need to be protected from this energy right now. So why don't you just take a step back?
Yeah.
And it will start flowing soon. But there's a lot stirring up right now, and it could have impacted you negatively just because of your sensitivity. So,
well, that's good to know. I'm glad you told me that, because, I just look out the window and I'm getting hit, and I'm like, okay, is it me? Or, but I thank you for that advice, and thank you for the help, because, oh my gosh, you're a miracle. You're my hero, because it's like, I don't know how to function. And, yesterday I was laying by my husband, and my arm started hurting, and I looked at him, and I said, are you having any problems? And he goes, and I didn't tell him my arm hurt, because I don't want to do that. And he goes, my arm's starting to hurt. And I said, fudge, because I end up getting this shock in my arm. Oh. And I never have arm pain. And then my leg, and I was like, okay, something's going on with my body again. but then I found out it was his arm. I rubbed it. I put some stuff on it. My arm, the pain went away in my arm, the pain in my leg, and I went to my doctor appointment, and I have an appointment in June. I don't think they found anything because remember I had that problem, and now it's like they looked in my uterus and they're scheduling me an appointment in 2 weeks. So if they found something, I would have been seen like right away. And all they're checking for is cancer and for something else in my uterus, but it doesn't look bad.
Of course it doesn't, because you're perfect.
Oh, thank you.
Remember,
I think everything's going good.
Yes, but remember, we got to stay shielded. I mean, yes,
yeah.
We're all getting, and we are all, as a body, becoming more sensitive. So you got to do the shielding. And the one thing that I've started doing, and then we're over our time, so I'll share this real quickly. Anything that you want for yourself, I have started creating blankets of that and sharing it with anybody else that I encounter.
Okay.
So while you were in the space of wanting the job, you might want to stitch together energetic blankets of employment and throw them over anybody that you know that may be looking for a job.
Okay.
So
I'll do that.
Just a way, it keeps us out of comparing, so we wouldn't be looking at the person who has the job and saying, oh, why can't I have one? Because we're so busy giving jobs to everyone.
Yeah.
So if we give what we want, then it keeps us focused on what we do want, and we're not comparing, oh, why don't I have it? What am I doing wrong? It keeps us focused on the good, on what we want and what we do have. Yeah. I do have this job opportunity, or I do have this love to share. Let me share more of my love, or I want to be successful. Let me share the energy of success because I want to bring more success energy into me. Yeah. So that's in addition to the blankets of pink and gold light, which are just love. Now I've been creating blankets that are even more specific for specific things that I may be desiring, so that we stay out of that, why don't I have it kind of feeling, which is easy in this energy.
It is. I went through that with my family, like, why are they going out and I'm home? But when you gave me reality and said, I started blessing them even more because, look what happened. I ended up, getting the job with the lady. And I said, the only crime I committed was loving too much. That's the only crime. If anybody looked, and I think that's what I was so scared, that people look up our Facebook, look up our past, and, look up everything in our lives. But really what my crime was just loving too much, giving too much. If people knew who I was, but no one will, so it's just who I carry in my heart.
Well, wait a minute. Let's rephrase you.
Okay.
And then we gotta go.
You got to go.
But let's rephrase for a second. First of all, you haven't ever committed a crime.
Yeah.
You are a beautifully blessed child of God who is loving.
Mm-hmm.
And you are in the process of attracting people who will recognize and be grateful for that love.
Yeah. Thank you.
We're all shedding the hangers-on, the jealous people, the people who want to keep us down, believing that they can only go up if we're down. We are shedding those people, and we've got to be careful during this shedding phase to send out that beam of what we do want. We do want people that will appreciate and accept our love. We do want people to see us as loving. We do want people that will be excited when we're successful.
Yeah. Oh, you're so beautiful. And you're making me cry because that's so true. We all do. I think all of us on this call, and I see in you, and we all want that. And it's just the hardest thing that we're fighting for.
Well, it's getting easier. And remember, before I go, our Facebook group, Heal Our Hearts, is a community of dedicated to unconditional love, and we genuinely are delighted when somebody does well, and we genuinely come together to lift you up if you are not doing well. So please, if this speaks to your heart, join our group, Heal Our Hearts, on Facebook. With my blocks going off and on, sometimes they let me get in there. Sometimes, so if I'm not there, it's not because I don't love you. It's because they took me off again. But and also, if you want the daily inspiration, I send out an inspiration every day. It helps me. It will help you. Get on my mailing list, Marcia, Marcia, at marciamartinthehearthealer.com. Or you can visit my website, marciamartinthehearthealer.com, and click Contact or Inspire Me. The Inspire Me button on the first page will take you to where you can sign up for the email list. It is just me doing what I came here to do, which is to inspire and to uplift. And also me receiving from all of you beautiful comments, fabulous, uplifting emails, and I am so grateful for all of them. But it is us together making a safe, beautiful space where we can grow and become the best version of ourselves. So, Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer, if you want to work with me personally, message me at Marcia at Marcia Martin, the Heart Healer. I do offer a 30-minute consultation that is free the first time, so we can determine whether it would be good for us to work together. If I don't suit you, I can't help you. So I will not agree to work with you if you feel uncomfortable around me. That is perfectly okay. There are millions of beautiful, wonderful practitioners. Find the person that speaks to your heart. Also, I have many, many classes. So on my website, again, under the services page are the classes. They are very affordable and they offer the same benefit. It's just not one-on-one attention, so you have to work a little harder, but the fee reflects that. All right, everyone. Until next Wednesday, thank you all so much for being in my life, for letting me share my angel stories with you, and for the wonderful questions, comments, and emails. You are just all amazing, and I am so excited to see the growth in each and every one of you. You are fabulous. So, until next Wednesday, I'm sending you my love.